There is a law in the universe that does not announce itself with noise or clamor, but it governs the rise of every man and woman who has ever aspired to greatness. It is the law of silent preparation. This law is not written in books of science, nor is it carved on the walls of institutions. It is etched in the minds of the successful and practiced by those who understand the value of sowing in silence before reaping in triumph. The world often looks for the loudest voice, the boldest declaration, the grandest display. But success does not originate from the echo of applause. It is born in quiet rooms where no audience exists. The mind, when focused and undisturbed, becomes a forge where dreams are melted down, shaped by discipline and hardened by persistence. This process is internal, invisible, and uninterrupted by the noise of public approval. It is in silence that the true work is done. When you prepare in silence, you conserve the most valuable energy a person can possess, mental focus. By keeping your intentions to yourself, you prevent them from being diluted by opinions, judgments, or the temptation of premature celebration. Every time a person speaks of what they are going to do, they give away a portion of their energy. They trade action for applause, and in doing so they often lose the inner fire necessary to carry the plan to completion. Silent preparation allows desire to mature. A premature harvest is no blessing. It is often a failure dressed in urgency. The seed must remain hidden in the soil until it is strong enough to break through. If disturbed too early, it withers. In the same way, your ideas, your ambitions, your goals, these are seeds. Speaking too soon, seeking validation too early, is like digging up the soil to see if the seed is sprouting. It will only delay your growth. There is strength in solitude. The individual who is unafraid to walk alone, who is comfortable in the absence of praise, builds a foundation of character that no criticism can shake. Silence is not weakness. It is the companion of wisdom. It is the shield of the builder and the discipline of the visionary. Many confuse noise for power, but power lies in the stillness before the storm, in the breath before the strike, in the silence before the speech that changes the world. Those who move in silence are not hiding. They are building. They are focused not on being seen, but on becoming undeniable. When you are unseen, you are unjudged. When you are unjudged, you are free. Free to fail, free to learn, free to rise. There is no shame in failing behind closed doors. In fact, it is the most efficient way to grow. Failure in silence becomes the teacher that prepares you for victory in public. In the still moments of early mornings or late nights, while others sleep or waste time in idle chatter, the silent mover is sharpening the mind, refining the vision, strengthening the resolve. They are reading, writing, rehearsing, reflecting. They are laying brick upon brick, unnoticed, uncelebrated. But they are building something so strong that when it emerges, it cannot be ignored. This is not about ego. It is about mastery. And mastery requires quiet repetition. The subconscious mind thrives in silence. When you work silently, you allow your thoughts to align, your affirmations to embed themselves deeply, and your emotions to charge your goals with irresistible energy. Distraction weakens the signal. Silence strengthens it. A man or woman who is mentally clear, emotionally centered, and spiritually grounded can move mountains. But that clarity is only cultivated in solitude, not in the spotlight, not in the noise. Society celebrates the final result, not the lonely nights, the failures, the moments of doubt overcome in private. But it is precisely those unseen battles that create the strength necessary for visible success. What you do in silence determines what you receive in public. It is the invisible hours that form the visible crown. The champion is not made in the arena. The champion is made in the hours of preparation when no one is watching and no one is cheering. People often speak of sudden success as if success appears overnight. But success never arrives suddenly. It reveals itself after long seasons of silent work. It appears to burst forth only because the roots have grown so deep, so strong, and so invisible to the naked eye. When you plant your roots in silence, your fruits will make the noise for you. Jealousy will come. Questions will be asked. Where did this come from? They will say. How did this happen overnight? But you will know. You will remember the hours you spent preparing, the nights you refused to quit, the moments you felt invisible but chose to persist. You will remember the silence, and you will understand that it was in that very silence where you were made. There is no shortcut to this. There is no hack, no trick, no magic formula. The formula is this: plan privately, act relentlessly, and reveal only when results are impossible to ignore. Every empire begins with a single thought held in the mind, guarded from the world until it becomes strong enough to withstand it. Move in silence, not to hide, but to grow. Build in silence, not to deceive, but to solidify. Every action that man takes originates first in the mind. Every building once began as a vision. Every invention was first an idea, intangible and unseen, but real in the heart of its creator. The great secret that governs achievement, yet eludes the average thinker, is that the mind is the workshop of reality. What you repeatedly plant into it with belief and emotional conviction begins to shape your external world. Affirmations, when fueled by faith, become the architects of destiny. Words are not just sounds, they are spiritual units of power. An affirmation, when charged with faith, becomes a command, not just to your conscious mind, but to the unseen forces that shape the fabric of your experiences. When spoken without belief, an affirmation is empty, but when spoken with emotion, conviction, and repetition, it becomes a magnet. It begins to reprogram the subconscious mind, and through that reprogramming, your actions, habits, decisions, and results begin to align with the image you hold of yourself. The subconscious mind does not judge, question, or argue. It accepts whatever you tell it with feeling and repetition. It acts as the soil in which your dominant thoughts take root. And just like soil, it will grow whatever seed you plant, whether that seed is fear or faith, defeat or triumph, poverty or abundance. The mind must be directed, or it will default to the patterns impressed upon it by the world. And the world left unchecked rarely teaches belief, it teaches doubt. The individual who understands this law will guard his thoughts and affirm his purpose daily, not because it is fashionable or motivational, but because he knows that he is instructing his mind to accept a new identity. Affirmations are not lies told to oneself. They are truths spoken in advance. They are the declarations of the self that is being built, brick by brick, thought by thought. Faith, when combined with repetition, transforms those words into subconscious blueprints. The strongest builders of success do not wait until they believe. They speak until belief is formed. They understand that belief is not an emotion that visits randomly. It is a mental habit, cultivated by affirming the same truth over and over, until the subconscious accepts it without question. Once accepted, it begins to guide behavior, inspire ideas, and attract people and circumstances that align with that new belief. There is a science behind this process, though it often looks like mystery to the casual observer. When a person affirms, "I am successful," or "I am a magnet for opportunities," and does so with feeling, they are not merely speaking into the air. They are programming their mental chemistry. They are training the nervous system to expect success and the body to move with confidence. They are rejecting the identity that has been shaped by past failures and stepping into one that is aligned with future triumph. Many fail to grasp this because they speak affirmations with doubt. They mouth the words while their heart holds fear. This split focus produces no power. The subconscious receives mixed messages and does not respond with clarity. But when a man affirms his vision with full faith, as though it were already done, the subconscious accepts that new reality and begins to adjust every thought, habit, and response to bring it to pass. Faith is the substance that gives weight to your words. Without faith, words are leaves in the wind, but with faith they become law. They transform into instructions written upon the walls of your inner world. And since the outer world is only a reflection of what you truly believe, it begins to conform. Success, prosperity, joy, strength, these are not accidents. They are the natural result of planting and reinforcing certain beliefs over time, through faith-fueled affirmations. Some call it delusion, but the wise call it decision. The decision to believe in oneself even when no evidence yet exists. The decision to declare victory before the battle has begun. The decision to reframe reality by altering the dominant thoughts of the mind. Great men and women throughout history have used this principle, whether consciously or unconsciously. They envisioned greatness and declared it long before they possessed it. In time, reality conformed. The spoken word is one of the most powerful forces on earth. When combined with vision and faith, it alters the speaker and the world they move through. Speak often of who you intend to become. Say it in the morning before the day begins. Say it in the evening before you close your eyes. Repetition is the hammer, faith is the fire, and affirmation is the chisel that carves new possibilities into the stone of your identity. This process is not passive. It requires emotional energy, focus, and persistence. You must speak as if your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The quality of your life will always rise or fall to the level of your most consistent internal dialogue. If you constantly affirm weakness, chaos, or failure, your life will reflect that state. But if you boldly affirm strength, clarity, and abundance, and do so daily, your life must adjust to match those beliefs. You are never merely speaking. You are setting in motion a cause that must by universal law produce its corresponding effect. There is no neutral ground. What you think you become. What you affirm you attract. The only question is, are you affirming by design or by default? Are you planting seeds of your choosing, or are you allowing weeds to take root in the silence of neglect? The man who disciplines himself to speak life into his vision every day, who combines his words with faith, and who repeats those affirmations until they are etched into his being, is a man who will not be denied. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. It is the spark that lights the fire of ambition, the seed from which all greatness grows. But desire alone is not enough. Desire without direction is like a blazing torch in the hands of a blind man. It creates heat. It may cause attention, but it leads nowhere. And worse, when desire is broadcast for the world to see before it has taken root in discipline, it becomes a performance rather than a pursuit. One of the greatest mistakes people make is mistaking display for progress. They believe that talking about their goals, posting about their intentions, and announcing their dreams to the world is the same as doing the work. But the universe does not reward noise, it rewards alignment. And alignment happens when desire is channeled inward, guided by purpose, and supported by consistent action. Direction, not display, is what gives desire its power to manifest. There is a sacredness to desire when it is guarded, cultivated, and focused. When you shield it from unnecessary exposure, you protect it from the delusion of public opinion and the temptation of external validation. The moment you put your dreams on display for applause, you risk shifting your energy from execution to approval. And when approval becomes the goal, the dream begins to die. Because the dream was never meant to be fed by compliments. It was meant to be built by conviction. The mind, when centered on direction, becomes a compass. It does not waver. It does not become distracted by the noise around it. It moves steadily, step by step, toward the objective. But when desire is not given direction, it is left to wander. It gets caught in the traps of comparison, insecurity, and distraction. It looks outward instead of inward. It seeks to impress rather than progress. The most successful individuals understand that their greatest ambitions must be concealed until they are realized. This is not secrecy born of fear. It is silence born of strategy. The man who walks toward his vision without announcing every step is not hiding. He is conserving. He is directing his energy toward creation, not performance. And in doing so he builds something real, something undeniable, something that eventually speaks for itself. Broadcasting your goals too early invites interference. The world is not always kind to new ideas. Critics, doubters, and even well-meaning friends will project their fears onto your vision. Their opinions, if you are not deeply rooted, can become like winds that blow your sail off course. But when your desire is internalized, when your focus is on direction rather than display, you are immune to those winds. You move with quiet certainty, because your goal is not to be seen trying, it is to be seen succeeding. There is a law of energy that governs momentum. What you focus on expands. If you focus on outcomes, you may become impatient. If you focus on recognition, you may become inconsistent. But if you focus on direction, on the next right step, you build a rhythm, and rhythm creates progress, whether anyone is watching or not. True desire does not care for applause. It demands results. It is not satisfied with looking the part. It insists on becoming the part. Display can be a dangerous substitute for discipline. It can give the illusion of movement while masking inaction. Talking about the goal becomes more appealing than doing the work. Sharing the plan becomes more rewarding than executing it. But no amount of display can replace the silent, often invisible process of building something worthwhile. That process demands solitude, sacrifice, and sustained effort, and it is only sustained when desire is pointed toward a clear direction. A man may desire wealth, influence, freedom, but unless that desire is linked to specific actions, guided by principles, and reinforced by purpose, it remains fantasy. Display may gain him admiration for a time, but it will never produce fulfillment. Fulfillment is born of alignment, and alignment only comes when the head, heart, and hands are pointed in the same direction, when thought, emotion, and action are working together toward a single aim. Discipline is the engine that turns desire into reality, and discipline operates best in quiet. It thrives when it is not being observed, judged, or praised. The individual who removes the need to be seen frees himself to move faster, think clearer, and execute better. He understands that desire needs privacy to grow roots and direction to reach its destination. There is no need to announce the journey when the destination will make itself known in time. Those who display too soon often peak too early. They become addicted to attention and lose their edge. Their desire, once pure, becomes polluted by the need for recognition. But those who keep their desire sacred, who direct it with clarity, and who move silently with relentless focus, these are the ones who create legacies. Their work outlasts the noise. Their achievements echo long after the crowd has moved on to the next spectacle. Desire must be stewarded like fire. Left uncontrolled, it burns wildly, creating sparks but no warmth. But when contained and directed, it becomes a force that can light cities. You must become the keeper of your fire. You must decide each day where it will burn and what it will build. And you must resist the urge to show it to the world before it is ready, not because you are unsure, but because you are certain it will be seen when it matters most. Desire without direction is potential wasted. Direction without display is power multiplied. When you choose to give your desire a path instead of a platform, you trade noise for impact. You step away from the crowd and into your calling. You stop performing and start producing for